Hi, fourth grade friends. We're going to be doing lesson 10 of module 6. Remember, I'm going to be using the homework page, which is slightly different numbers than your problem set numbers, but the activities are just the same. In this first area, we're going to be comparing values comparing values of decimals using the area models, and then we're also going to be comparing them using the number line. So as you look at this one, we have 0.19. Well, I know that 0.19 is going to be the same as having 1/10 and 9 1/100ths. And I know that 3/10 is 3/10. So that 3/10 I can just go ahead and I can shade in 3/10 right here. So I've shaded in 3/10 on this side, but on this side I have 1/10 and I have 9 1/100ths. And gosh, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I already know how I can do 1/10. I've got that one right there. But then I need to figure out, well, how am I going to show 100ths? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this next 10th and I'm going to divide it into 10 pieces. You can see I divided it into 10 pieces, just going across like that. And now I can color in 9 of those pieces. And you can see just by comparing those two real easily, you can see very easily that 0.3, 3/10, is a larger number than 1/10 and 9 1/100ths. You'll do the same thing on all of these. You're going to be shading in the amounts and then comparing which one is larger as you look at it. So go ahead and look down at the number lines. We're going to be doing the exact same thing. So if you look right here, I have 7 and 2/10 and I have 7 and 2/100ths. Well, my 7s kind of cancel each other out. So really all I'm comparing is 2/10 and 2 100ths. Which one is bigger? Well, 2 100ths is going to be 7 and 2 100ths. So I've got 10 spaces in between 7 and 7 and 1/10. So that's going to be 7 and 100th, 7 and 200. So that number will be right there, 7.02. And 7 and 2/10 is going to be all the way over here, 7 and 2/10. 1/10, 2/10. So it's real easy to see that 7 and 2/10 is much larger than 7 and 2 100ths. So 7 and 2/10 is the bigger number. And again, the bigger part of the arrow is going to be where the bigger number is. The smaller part of the arrow will be where the smaller number is. Now, as you're looking at this information, you're also going to be able to then solve it on looking just at the symbols. And in this situation, you're actually going to get to choose which way you want to solve them. So you're going to look at them and I have, well, here's a 2 in the ones place and 2 in the ones place. Those are equal. And I have a 6 in the tenths place and a 5 in the tenths place. Well, I know that 6/10 is more than 5/10. So right there, I can stop comparing because I know that 2 and 68/100ths is bigger than 2 and 54/100ths. Now, if you look at this next one right here, I have 9 in the one spot and I have 7 in the one spot. I don't even have to go any further because I automatically know that 9 is bigger than 7. Let's look at this last one this one right here. I have 1 in the tens place and a 1 in the tens place there. Then I have 3 in the ones place here and I have 3 in the ones place there. Now I have 1 in the tenths place and 1 in the 10th place there. And then I have a 0. And I actually could have a 0 here. Well, I don't have anything else to compare, but I do know that neither one of them is bigger. This one is equal. So just compare them, and you can choose to compare them. You can choose to use the area model, or you can choose to use the number line. We're going to take what we know, and now on the bottom part, they're switching it up on you. They're using some numbers, but they're also using some unit words. Now, I know that 57 tenths is the same as, because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, so I know I'm going to have a whole mixed number there. And there are 5 tens inside 57, so I have 5 and 7 tenths. And I know that the decimal of 7/10 is going to be 5.7. Well, 5.7 and 5.7 means that these two are equal. Now, another thing I'm going to look at is I want to call your attention to this one over here. So at first glance, it looks like these might be equal because I have 8 and 39 hundredths, and over here I have 8 and 39 tenths. Well, let's break apart that 8 and 39 tenths. The numerator is bigger than the denominator, so I know that this is actually going to be like 3 because I have 3 tens inside there. So I'm going to pull out that 3 and I'm going to have left over 9 tenths. So this is actually 3 and 9 tenths. So if I take that 8 and I add it to the 3 and 9 tenths, it really is going to make 11 and 9 tenths. So this number is really a mixed number of 11 and 9 tenths. And in that instance, then 11 and 9 tenths, 11 is more than 8. So that would be the bigger number. Looking right down here, in tenths and hundreds, 3 tenths and 22 hundredths, if I have ones, tens, and hundreds, I could use a place value chart to help me figure it out. So through the magic of editing, I've got this group of 10 hundreds is actually the same as 1 tenth. And this group of 1 hundredths is the same as another tenth. So over here, I've got my decimal and I've got 2 tenths and 2 1 hundredths. Well, 2 tenths and 2 1 hundredths, 0.22. If you compare those, I know that this one is 3 tenths. 3 is more than 2. So as I compare it, that one will be larger. You can decide which way you wish to solve the comparisons and try it out. Then let me know which way you found the most helpful.